Good afternoon, Lisa, and welcome to the gallery.
Well, thank you. I appreciate being invited.
We're going to have an artist talk today with Lisa Hart, the photographer of the current exhibit running at the gallery, The Art of Nature, which is in place from September 21st to October 2nd. Your first question I'd like to pose to you, Lisa, is when did you become interested in photography and how did you start out?
Well, I guess my first camera my aunt gave me was for my grade 8 graduation, but I wasn't really what you'd call interested in photography. I did all the silly, out of focus, sentimental pictures we all do as a teenager and young adult. But when I got the position at the photo lab at Zellers and started developing pictures, that's when I started taking more of an interest in photography. And then as they upgraded the equipment and we got to play with color and crop and do enlargements, it drew me in even more.
Well, that's very interesting. Do you find that you have a particular type of photography subject that you are most drawn to?
I think it's more a matter of what I'm not drawn to. I've never been really 100% comfortable in front of the camera myself, so I don't like to put other people in front of the camera. So I tend to do more landscapes, animals, that type of thing.
Do you find that as you work your way through your work that you find you have any specific piece of equipment that you find you become more interested in or more dependent on, or just something in your equipment that is really important to you?
I tend to flip back and forth. I have an older digital camera I got back when I was at Zellers that I use because it has a very powerful zoom lens on it. But I have another camera that doesn't have the powerful zoom, but it's more of a high-end camera. So it depends on what I'm trying to take the photograph of, which one I gravitate towards. And I wasn't really using my computer and editing software that much, but once I was exposed to other graphics artists and what they could do with Photoshop, I started working with that more and more. And again, the more I do of it, the more I'm inclined to go back to it.
You've done a couple of interesting pieces in the current exhibit for the gallery, The Art of Nature. Where is that Photoshop? The Enchanted Forest is one piece in particular I think is really interesting.
Yes, it's actually with Photoshop just putting an oil painting effect on it, which it gives it texture and movement. It works well with some landscapes. It also works well with some pictures if it's an animal with a fur, because it brings out that texture in the fur. It doesn't work with all pictures, but if you experiment, there's some of them it really brings out a different element.
So in looking at your future subject matter for your subjects in your photography work, do you think you'll be working towards more of an abstract, moving in more of an abstract direction?
Probably not. Abstract, I can appreciate other people enjoying it and that there is a lot more to it than meets the eye, but it's not something that attracts me a great deal. I think with some of the oil painting effects, it's just that texturing, but it's still something that you can generally recognize what it is.
And my final question would be to you, when I was looking at your images, I did in many of them, if I didn't see a story that maybe you were trying to present through your image, I could easily imagine one. Is that something, a goal in your work, that you try to have some sort of story behind it? Are you trying to, are you conscious of that when you take an image, or is that just something that seems to happen?
It's probably not a conscious thing that I do. I think it's more just because I was a writer first.
Oh.
That in the back of my mind, I think it's more of a reflex. That you're always looking for a bit of a story angle. And then some of the photography I do is actually in support of some of my articles where you're consciously looking for a specific angle.
Well, it's a lovely exhibit. We
thank you very much.
Well, you're quite welcome. We thank you for the opportunity to share your talent with our community, and we look forward to seeing much more of your work, Lisa.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.